King Birendra Bikram Shah was the 12th king of Nepal. Throughout his lifetime he has contributed a lot to the nation and will always be remembered as a true leader of Nepal. Despite the political, social and economic changes, he was more at ease and best liked for listening closely to the problems of common people, especially poor villagers in a country that is among the poorest in the world with high unemployment and low literacy. Internationally speaking, King Birendra is probably most famous for being the most noteworthy victim of the unfortunate Royal Palace massacre of June 1, 2001 AD. Here are the 5 things King Birendra is famous for. Number 5. His relation with the Royal Nepalese Army. His relation with the Royal Nepalese Army is also point to be listed. He was a good diplomatic and a visionary person. It was during his rule. The building now used as Parliament and House of Representative was successfully built with help of China. He made a lot of contribution to the Nepalese army. The main thing done by him was that the Nepalese army was looking for a new weapon to replace the Belgian SLR. Late King Dipendra, like the German Heckler and Koch G36 assault rifle, as opposed to the battle-tested Colt M16. Both the father and son agreed to buy the ammunitions and wanted to establish own gun factory in Nepal, which would have helped the Nepalese army to flourish. Number 4. International profile. Late King Birendra of Nepal was a nationalist whose main concern was about survival of Nepalese state more than anything. Under the rule of King Mahendra, his father, Nepal established diplomatic relations with many countries including China and steer a more independent foreign policy. King Birendra continued that by expanding diplomatic relations, and under his reign Nepal even became a non-permanent member of UN Security Council, which was a major feat. In the UN General Assembly, King Birendra proposed Nepal to be a zone of peace. 116 countries supported Nepal. Number 3. Sovereignty and revamping the education system. King Birendra maintained Nepal's independence and prevented it from being another Bhutan. Back in 1990 AD, with protests in Nepal for democracy, Indian government launched a blockade in Nepal. They sent a secret treaty to King Birendra where his absolute rule was guaranteed by Indian government. He didn't sign the treaty and then gave up power to the people rather than being an absolute ruler. Furthermore, during his coronation in 1975, King Birendra declared that primary education in the country would be free. In 1978 he decreed that all instructional material would also be provided free of costs to schools. Also, postgraduate students would be sent on a 1-year stint to work on development projects in rural areas. Moreover, King Birendra was also focused on convention on the protection and promotion of the diversity and heritage of Nepal, and he maintained the sovereignty of the country in spite of all foreign influences. Number 2. People's King. In May 1980 AD, King Birendra called for a national referendum to choose between a non-party government and a multi-party government. The referendum for a non-party government won by 55% of the votes against the 45% of the votes polled for a multi-party system of government. King Birendra did a referendum to understand the will of people whether they want multi-party democracy or old Panchayat system. Despite the political, social and economic changes, he was more at ease and best liked for listening closely to the problems of common people, especially poor villagers, in a country that is among the poorest in the world with high unemployment and low literacy. As more and more groups led by students asking for a change to the type of government started to emerge starting from April 1990 AD, King Birendra lifted the ban on political parties and introduced parliamentary democracy. His words were, "Only if people in responsible positions carry out their duties with care and accountability, and treat all Nepalese equally, will the people of this country believe completely in democracy." Number 1. His legacy. The most important legacies that the Honorable late King Birendra of Nepal left behind are democracy and education. His other legacy includes trying to save Nepal from Indian immigrants when he rejected to sign the anti-Nepalese citizenship bill proposed by anti-Nepalese politicians. He presided over almost 2 decades of the autocratic Panchayat system, saw the rise of Maoist People's War over the issues of poverty and illiteracy, and lost his entire family in probably the most bizarre episode in all Nepali history. But Birendra will most likely be known as the king who gave Nepal peace, democracy, and education as his bequest. King Birendra will always be remembered as a true leader who have all quality and charisma needed to develop the nation.